In the world of professional basketball, every single game is a fight. But the toughest battles, they're not always against another team. Sometimes they're fought right inside a player's own body, and even deeper, inside their own mind. So today, we're going to dive into those two very different but equally brutal battles for an NBA season. So that brings us to the big question, right? After a really devastating injury, what's the tougher mountain to climb? Is it rebuilding the body, or is it rebuilding the mind's trust in that body? We're going to look at this through two completely different stories playing out in the league right now. So first up, let's head to Boston. Celtics superstar Jayson Tatum is on that long, grueling road back from a major Achilles injury. And this part of the story, well, it isn't about the flashy highlights. It's about the quiet, methodical, step-by-step work of a comeback. And you can really hear it in his own words, can't you? There's no big declaration, no bold prediction. It's all about the process. Tatum himself is kind of managing expectations, just framing every little milestone as simply the next step in a very long, very carefully managed plan. Now, what's really interesting here is the jump between step 1 and step 2. Okay, so for the last 10 days or so, Tatum was running 5-on-5 drills against coaches. But now, he's scrimmaging against actual roster players. And let me tell you, that is a monumental leap. It's the difference between a totally controlled environment and the wild, unpredictable chaos of real NBA-level basketball. It's a huge sign that he is getting incredibly close. But look, getting the body right is only half the story. That physical progression is all building toward the biggest challenge of all, that invisible opponent every single athlete faces after a catastrophic injury. So here's the crucial distinction. Physical recovery, that's what you see in the gym, right? Lifting weights, running sprints, you can measure it. But mental recovery, that's about silencing that little voice in your head that questions every cut, every jump, every landing. It's about getting back to a place where you can just react instinctively, without that split second of hesitation that's born from fear. And this just illustrates that point perfectly. Former WNBA star Charania, who also came back from an Achilles tear, she just describes that feeling so well. Can you imagine playing at the highest level of sport and having to consciously check in with your body after every single jump or fall? That constant mental load, it's exhausting. And it can be the biggest barrier to getting back to being truly elite. And then veteran champ Danny Green, he adds another layer to this. He says you're not just recovering, you are fundamentally reprogramming your own body. You're relearning how to walk, how to run, how to jump for basketball. Because when you finally get back on that court, like he remembers, the first thought that hits you is, damn, this game is really fast. And that mental adjustment to the sheer speed is just as critical as the physical one. So as Jayson Tatum is carefully taking each step in his recovery, battling that mental hurdle, another player just spectacularly kicked the door down to announce his return. He's showing us exactly what the other side of that long journey looks like. All right, let's shift over to Oklahoma City, because Jaylen Williams of the Thunder just put on an absolute clinic. I mean, he embodies the successful end of the very journey Tatum is on right now. And man, he did it on a huge stage. Okay, so let's set the stage here. Williams didn't just have a little knock. He was out for 10 straight games with a nagging hamstring injury. And that's the kind of injury that can be really tricky, you know? It lingers in a player's mind, and it can totally sap the explosiveness their entire game is built on. And in his very first game back, against the Los Angeles Lakers no less, he doesn't just ease his way in. Nope. He drops a game-high 23 points. He looked like he never even left. That's not just a return. That's a powerful statement that both his body and his mind are 100% ready to go. But this is the stat that tells the real story. 10 of those points came in the fourth quarter, when the game was right there on the line. He wasn't just playing, he was taking over. He showed absolutely zero hesitation, zero rust, and complete trust in his body when it mattered the most. That right there is the end game of a successful recovery. He straight up sealed the win for his team. You know, Williams' triumphant return wasn't just an individual story. His performance and his team's performance as a whole, it basically threw a giant spotlight on the massive gap between the Thunder and their opponents that night, the Lakers. It really became a tale of two completely different mentalities. I mean, wow, it does not get more direct or more damning than this. This was LeBron James's assessment right after the game. No excuses, no sugarcoating, just a brutally honest admission that the Thunder have something the Lakers, well, they just don't have it right now. So what is that something? Well, according to LeBron, it's this: championship effort. It's the mental and physical toughness to keep your intensity up for a full 48 minutes, every single possession. And he's saying flat out, OKC has it, and his team doesn't. And when you really dig into why that effort is missing, the issues become pretty clear. The Lakers are struggling to match the raw energy of younger teams like the Thunder. Their defensive problems are structural. They're tied to their personnel. You can't just magically make players taller or quicker. And all of this, it feeds into a lack of consistent buy-in, which is absolute poison over a long 82-game season. And it's boiling over into some very visible frustration from leaders like LeBron. Which brings us all the way back to our central theme. You've got Jayson Tatum fighting this deep internal battle for a comeback, trying to rebuild his body and his mind. And then you've got the Lakers fighting a collective battle for consistency, just trying to find that championship effort night after night. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What's the truer mark of a champion? The explosive individual comeback or that relentless collective consistency?